Hey, to all my female baggage droppers out there, I have a question for you. Do you like gold or silver? Well, at Brienne and Company Jewelry Store, you can find anything that you like. That's right. Brienne and Company is a jewelry boutique that has durable minimalist jewelry. She uses genuine pearls, local shells and sea glass, natural gemstones, and of course, precious metals. And these are all quality handcrafted designs by Brienne Light herself. Go and visit her at her website, brienneandco.com, or go to her Instagram that's always popping at Brienne and Company. Thanks, Brienne. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all of my baggage droppers around the world, welcome to another episode of the Drop Your Baggage podcast with me, your host, Charles Woolfork, the self talk engineer. And if you're on YouTube and Facebook, please consider giving me the like and subscribe button. And if you're on a podcast platform subscribing, give a brother 5 stars and some feedback, please. And now, for our outstanding guest, ladies and gentlemen, we have Michael Damond. Now, with Michael, he grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but now lives in Phoenix, Arizona. He is the oldest of four, and he grew up in a single parent home. So he always had this sense of responsibility and a sense of togetherness and this sense of doing greater things. So he attended college. But took another route. He got into car sales, and then he found something that was truly good to him, which is talking to people, communicating even more. So he got into a call center for a traveling company. He was rising the ladder. He became the marketing assistant, the sales rep, and the district manager. But then life handed him a different opportunity again. He learned how to build websites himself and build a business called Black Emerge, and now it has turned into We Merge Media, and he helps small businesses create compelling content and learn how to use social media. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Michael Damond. What's up, Michael?
Hey, what is going on? How you doing?
I am doing outstanding today, but like I told you, my aunt would say, "Blessed and highly favored."
Hey, love that. Love that.
Hey, man. So tell us about your journey. Like, I don't know where you would like to start, but I want to know about the very beginnings over in Wisconsin, about you being the oldest of four, and just that sense of responsibility that you had when you were young.
Yeah, I talked to some friends who are also like the oldest child, and I feel like just when you're the oldest, you seem to kind of take on some responsibility that may not necessarily be given to you, just because of your positioning and how you line up. So that was me. Like I'm 8 years older than my next sibling, so I was the only child for a little bit. No jealousy or nothing like that. I believe I was a good brother.
Mm-hmm.
Once the rest started coming on. But yeah, you're there early, and my mom had me early. I believe she was probably about 17. So I, for the most part, just kind of like that I felt like I had some sense of responsibility, especially having younger siblings, and playing a role, kind of playing a part, something that I've kind of created for myself.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm also an older child, and I had to start. I hope my mom can't get arrested for this now, but I started watching my little brother when I was like 11. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
get
it was
off
like
the
that back in the
bus,
day.
latch key, don't cook nothing in the stove, use the microwave, and straight up watch TV and do your homework. That's all it
Yeah,
is, But that sense of responsibility as far as you know the cooking and the cleaning and helping my brother with his homework and whatever he's going through. It was definitely something that you had to make sure that you picked up the slack for whatever was gone outside of the house or
right.
inside of the house. That is. So you said that a music teacher like pretty much spoke life into you and helped you
Mm.
turn things around in your mindset. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, there's been a few of them. So, like when I would say pretty much through like elementary and middle school, like I was
Mhm.
just an average student, C student who would get happy if you get B's every once in a while. Wasn't playing in any sports. So like I didn't have any type of social activity at school
Mhm.
outside of just, when I get home and I play with friends. But when I got to high school, I remember being in the cafeteria. I was a freshman and just hearing something over the announcement that, oh, we're looking for people to join the band. Never played an instrument, like I like music, but I never really thought to play. So, I was like, oh, let me go just find out and sign up for it. Ended up going, met some cool people that were in the band. who said that they would teach me how to play, and like music became my social environment all throughout high school, and even a couple of years after high school, through marching band, through drum and bugle corps. So, my band director was pretty cool. A lot of us, my friends and I, like school would end, we would stay after school in the band room, playing, practicing, socializing. She let us do that. But that was also like the first time where, because I was in band, she booked these trips where she would take us out of state. So like I had never been out of state before, so it's like I'd never traveled or none of that stuff. And that kind of began to open my eyes to just like a whole different world, meeting other people through drum and bugle corps, which is something that I got into when school was out. So I kind of kept myself surrounded in that musical environment, and a lot of my real close friends ended up coming from that. But that was kind of like my eye-opening aha moment of what life was like outside of just, living in the hood, growing up in the city, something whole new experience that I had never had before.
100%. And what did you find? Like, what did you find most interesting about that outside of environment from the inner city to wherever you went when you were in the bugle corps?
Oh man, like it's embarrassing sometimes, but it's funny to me to repeat to people. But it's like I had always lived in a house with one bathroom, and I've seen people who had houses that had multiple bathrooms. I remember being in somebody's house and they had like a family room. And I'm just like, a family room? Like, you mean a living room? Like, oh no, like that's a whole different room separate than the living room. So like just real basic stuff like that, it kind of tripped me out to have experienced that. But it also, what it ended up doing for me is kind of setting my sights further than what I knew. It's just like, oh, like there's a whole nother way that people are living out here. It's different. I remember telling one friend this, and she's like, "Oh, well, didn't you watch TV and like you saw like, yeah, but TV is not real." So it's like until you experience it in real life, you don't really think about it. Like it was just I knew my normal. But my normal had changed once I kind of saw that, and I liked it. I'm just like, oh, this is nice. Like, what do I got to do to be like these people? So that kind of set me on a whole nother trajectory.
100%. And is that what in that trajectory, was that what you carried on into college when you did?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But I never knew how. Like, I didn't know what to do, so I just knew that like people are living different than when I grew up, and I like how they're living, but that was the extent of it. I didn't know like, okay, that means I now have to go do XYZ. Like, after high school, I went to college, but I only went to college because everybody said you're supposed to go to college afterwards. There was no career planning. There was no like evaluating what I was good at. It's just like, I play trumpet. I like band. I'm going to major in music. My music teacher was influential, so I'm going to be a music teacher. And that was the extent of it.
That's awesome. So at least you had some sort of a direction. You were like, hey, I like this. This is a passion for me. I'm going to go ahead and be an influence on others, just like somebody was an influence on me. That's pretty cool.
Right.
So like you transitioned over into car sales. So what did you learn most from car sales? Or like, first of all, just go ahead and walk me through that transition real quick.
Yeah. Like it was, I'm trying to remember like what period. I think there's probably like a 1 year period of time where I kind of, I went to college, but I only stayed for the first year because I was struggling financially. Like I didn't have the money to really live comfortably up there. I decided to look to see what band directors and teachers make. And I looked it up because now I'm having a little more sense of awareness about what it takes to live the kind of life and I want. I'm just like 25, 30,000. Like, what? No. And I'm going to be on how much money when school is over? The math didn't add up to me. So I knew I had to do something different. And plus, it's just like I knew I wasn't coming back. So I just kind of put the blinders on and went on this rampage. Just like, I just need to make money. What do I need to do to make money? And, my friends laugh to this day, but because I was just like so open to try all this different stuff. Like I remember going to an Amway meeting. I remember going to applying for this job to sell signs, so it was like outside, door to door, business to business, oh, I see that you don't have a sign. We sell signs and can we make a sign for you? So like, I made no money whatsoever, but it did kind of give me this like tenacity that you need to kind of have that like creating your own way type thing. Because if I didn't make any sale, then I didn't make any money. And that's what I learned from that experience. But, through that, I remember I worked at McDonald's for like a week or two, hated that big time.
He said a week.
Yeah, it was about a week. That's about as much as I could take. But I ended up applying for a car dealership who was hiring. I had sales experience from the sign thing, and I got into it. And that's where my sales career began.
Boom, boom. So like, what? How did working in the car salesman industry, if you will, the car sales industry, how did that change your perspective? And what skills did you learn from that as well? Because there's so many things that you can learn being a car salesman.
Big time, big time. So, like for me, I enjoyed the social aspect of it. I liked talking to people. I enjoyed being of service to people, and I don't know that I really thought about that since went back to kind of analyze that job to see what I've learned from it. But I did it for about a year and a half, I think. And I'll tell you, there's another person there who kind of like put me back on. Oh yeah, like there's something more out of life that I want. But during our time I was working there, like in car sales, like, that whole, I got to go speak to my manager thing, like that thing is real. Like you have to go talk to the manager. Like for me, I'm just like, look, here's the car. Do you like it? Yes. You like it? Love it? Great. Let's come to a point on a price. Even if you told me that you're ready to buy that car at a certain price, and I go back and tell my manager, like, hey, they're ready to buy this car at this price, he still wanted to negotiate more. I'm like, oh, if they're willing to do that, then let's see if we can get them even lower. So like, I hated that because I'm just like, come on, do we really have to go through all this? Like, I don't go through this when I'm going to buy stuff, but I didn't like that part of it. Sometimes it was good because it was commission based. I remember because all the new salesmen, I was a new car salesman, so we got to drive a demo. So it was like I had a free car during the time, but that sales process, I just did not enjoy. I realized I didn't have the type of personality to like kind of emotionally detach from that and just focus on getting the sale. I was too service oriented, which later on helped me into the next thing that I did. But I remember one night distinctly when I was working there, and this was before I left. The guy who owned the dealership owned a number of dealerships, and I was waiting outside. I think this might have even been because they changed the demo thing. So, you had to sell soap more in the cars to get a demo. So I didn't have a demo this month. I didn't have a car this month because I didn't make the sales quota. And I remember sitting outside in front of the dealership. It was closed and I was waiting for a ride. I was waiting for somebody to pick me up. And I remember the Corvette pulling up because the owner drove the Corvette. And he pulled up, night, everything's closed. I'm out there. He's like, are you okay? You gonna be good? And I'm like, yeah, somebody's going to come pick me up. And he's like, all right. He's like, don't give up, keep going. He kind of gave me this little pep talk type thing. But I remember his lifestyle. Like he had a house that was on the lakefront. He drove all these cars. And I was reminded about the people who had the multiple bathrooms. And I'm just like, see, what do I need to do to be like this dude? Like I was reminded of that. So I started looking for something else, looking at taking my customer service, like, how do I take that customer service experience, the sales experience? Went and looking for more jobs, and then it ended up getting into a call center and working there for about 4 years. I'm in a number of different roles, but man, it was crazy when I think about all them different transitions. But what got me in the door was my customer service oriented skills and my ability to be able to talk to people, and make people feel good when I was talking to them. It was a journey.
What is most important about like customer service? What is the most important thing about it to you?
To me, I think the thing is, and I had an experience yesterday with a company where I just had like excellent customer service. I'm just like, this is what it's supposed to be about. And it's like, I found that for me, and it works out well for me, even in my business today, being able to help people feel heard and helping them get to the point of a resolution. So like, I like solving problems. I like coming up with solutions. Like I like that process that you go through mentally to figure out like, how can we make this work for you? Because there's just this sense of satisfaction that comes from it when people have that relief, like, oh, yes, you know what I mean? So like I look for that in all my experiences when I'm out, and I'm using that as my barometer to kind of measure whether I'm getting good service or not. But I found that I really like that, and that sense didn't necessarily play out well in the car sales environment. Maybe not such a good salesman, to be like that, because I was for the customer rather than for the dealership, and getting the top dollar. But that worked well once I got over into the call center and start interacting, in a different company where service was very, very important. And, that helped me kind of go up through the ranks there.
What helped you like, okay, so obviously you're customer orientated. Obviously you have these people skills, you know, and how to carry a conversation. Do
Hmm.
car salesmen, they have to know how to negotiate. So like making sure that people see the value and able to
Yeah.
negotiate. You have all these different skills that are within your arsenal right now. So like what else was able to help you be even better, a better call center employee and rise up the rankings like you did?
Yeah, I think for me, the other thing that worked well for me is like I'm an avid learner, you know, so like I pick up on things well and quickly because I'm excited about the discovery process of what it is that I'm taking on. So I would spend a lot of my extra or free time, you know, like learning about the next thing, where a lot of people get to the point where they're just like, this is my job. I'm doing these things that are on the paper, and that's all that I'm doing. Whereas for me, it's like, okay, I got this down, but like, what's next? So, you know, I was always looking for that next thing. And, you know, that's what kind of helped me in a lot of the roles that I've had get to the next one. I didn't always have the credentials, you know, because I didn't finish school, I didn't have the degree. But if you put me in the room where I could talk to somebody, like I knew I'd be able to come out of that situation a winner.
It was that journey, that search for that extra bathroom. It's like
Yeah.
because it was the question that you asked, like, what do I have to do
Yeah.
to get that lifestyle? It's not like how did that person get? It's like, what do I have to do? You took that personal responsibility, and
Mm-hmm.
therefore it translates into a curiosity and a yearn for learning that you
Yeah.
take forward into these different positions. That's awesome.
That's true. You just made me think about something too, because it's like during the many jobs that I had, even working in the call center, I started delivering pizza part time because I knew I was having, you know, my daughter, and I became a pizza delivery driver after work when I was working at that place. But I intentionally worked in an area that was wealthy. So here again, I'm working in this area with all these wealthy people, huge houses, big lots, nice cars. And, you know, back then we always had the paper to show you who the customer is, you know, who the name is. So I don't even remember having Google back then. Man, I wonder about that. I have to think about that. But, you know, I would look at the name and I would just be like, oh, I've seen this name on a building downtown. And I started to realize like a lot of the people who lived in the area owned businesses or they were like executives at companies, you know. So I'm just like, because I would see people that I knew from back when I was a waiter working in a private club. Again, dang, I'm just making these connections with all these rich people I used to work around or work for. I worked at this private club as a waiter, and I remember seeing some of the people that I was delivering to later on in life, back when I was like 18, 17, working at that place. So, you know, the dots started to connect, and I'm just like, these people own businesses. Like, I need to look at how to own a business. Like, how does this work? The car dealership guy owned the business. You know, people that I was delivering to with the pizza. And like, I'm starting to see the connection from that and started researching entrepreneurism. And that took me on a whole nother road.
What drew you to start to build websites then?
Yeah. So the original thing was because I worked in the travel industry, when I looked to start a business, you know, I was like, what's going to be the path of least resistance? And I started a travel based business. But with that, I was trying to figure out like, you know, this was early in the days with the internet. How do you get a website so that I can have people contact me and find me? It wasn't even about booking, you know, because back then we were still booking on the phone. So it wasn't like you had an app. I remember cell phones were just like still gray little green blocks. Like it wasn't no internet. It wasn't none of that stuff that it is today. But in finding people to build a website for the business at that time, it was $5,000, $10,000, and I'm starting a business. I don't have no money for that. Working full time job, like so, I didn't have the money for it. So I'm like, let me see if I could. This is something again that curiosity about can I figure this out. Started researching it, and I remember the first time I built one, I was using what was it called? Like it was Microsoft. It was some Microsoft web builder thing. It was horrible. It was terrible. You know, it's not around anymore today, but like that made me realize like there has to be a better way. And eventually, you know, with enough searching, I found a company who made a do-it-yourself type platform. So I figured it out.
It's over from this and off to the races.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
like, what were some of the challenges that you had to overcome with beginning your business from the ground up?
um, Having capital, you know, and figuring out how to get in front of people. So, because I didn't have the capital, then I wasn't like I had a marketing budget to do advertising or none of that stuff. So I really just kind of started with people that I knew, family. I had family who worked at call centers. So I'm like, hey, they had paid time off. They made good money. So I would make a flyer. And I learned how to make a flyer in the process of trying to figure out how to make a website. And I would give it to my cousins, and she would take it to work and hang it up on the bulletin board. So I remember that I started booking trips for her and for her friends, and they would put the flyers up in there, and I started getting all these calls. But eventually, that was all booking travel, Vegas trips, weddings, and all that other stuff. I was like, cool. But I started to notice that I started getting people visiting the website that I put on the flyer and asking me, oh, but who did the website? Who did the website? Because I need one. And I'm like, oh, well, I did the website. And people started asking me if I could make one for them. And I'm just like, okay, the trip to Vegas is going to pay me a $70 commission, or I can build a website for like $500. So, hey, I switched. And that's when I kind of transitioned over to Black Emerge at the time.
Super easy decision right there. So you started with the company Black Emerge. You know what I mean? You had there was a problem that you saw and you wanted to solve the problem.
Right.
What's that problem, and how did Black Emerge come from all of that?
Yeah. So at this time, there was probably about, I think it was 1999 or 2000 or so. And because when you asked me about how did I go about, what were the challenges that I had, advertising was a huge challenge. How do people find me was a big thing. I couldn't afford to be in the yellow pages and all that other stuff. So I thought like, okay, well, there has to be other people like me who are in the same situation. And just starting with what I know, I was like, let me create a place for people who have businesses to advertise so that they can, insert their business in front of more people. At the time, Black pages were around, but I remember like that was like of a whole era gone by. So it almost kind of looked like it was basically a Black version of the yellow pages back then. But people were starting to use the internet to search for things. So, I'm like, okay, the next thing that needs to come, the next interpretation of that has to be something that's web-based. And because I knew how to build a website, I built blackemerge.com as a place for people to be able to list their business, which also gave me an opportunity to now start developing a list of business owners who would need websites, because I knew that they didn't have them at the time. So, I was built this online directory basically for people to be able to find Black business owners in Milwaukee. And that, I remember I was doing $1 a day. So it was like $365 for the year to get listed. But then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna put you in the directory, but I need your website. Oh, I don't have a website. Okay, well, we provide a service for that. So then I would design the website for them too. So I did that, plus published a magazine to go along with that, because I know everybody wasn't adapted to the internet yet. So like locally, I distributed a handheld paper magazine as a way to then advertise the businesses. So it was, trust me, I know this all sounds good, but this was not all like planned out. It kind of evolved in that way.
Oh, sure.
It evolved in that way. So it wasn't like, I'm going to start this business and offer these 3 different services.
Nah.
It wasn't like that.
But like, you saw the problem, you fixed it, but then you were able to, you had different products and services that you were able to give as well. So you were able to upsell people as well. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, for those who don't know, that's called an upsell, when you have one product or service and then you go ahead and offer another product or service, like he did with his the websites. Like that's phenomenal. And so how long did you have this business? How did everything go? Did you like, I know you had to start hiring people. How did this whole process go for you with Black Emerge?
Yeah, so I was solo for like, I'm still pretty much solo to this day for the most part. I just started incorporating my daughter into what I'm doing. And then a few partners that I would contract out to. But, I did Black Emerge for a good 4 years, I think. But I started running up against people who weren't Black, who wanted my services. And it was just like, okay, like to me, it wasn't a big deal. Why is it a big deal? Just to make your check out the Black Emerge and you still get the same thing that you wanted. But the conversation ended up becoming difficult to have with some people. And then I would have friends be like, yeah, like, I think you're limiting yourself. Like, just by, I don't know if but like a lot of times, like when you have a Black business, it can go 2 ways. Either you worried about letting people know you're a Black business and putting your face on it because you feel like you're going to be discriminated or limited because you're putting that up front. or like people really, really own it and they just kind of stay in that niche and it gets hard to expand. So for me, it was hard to expand beyond that point for that reason. And rather than trying to fight and make people a jump over, I'm just like, let me just offer something different. So I dropped the the black from Black Emerge and I replaced it with we to make it inclusive. And it's been We Merge Media ever since then.
Love it. Love it. So like, man, gotta ask, did you get any like pushback? Did people call you sellout and all that stuff? Did you get like some
Little bit,
yeah,
little bit, not a whole lot, just
Good.
because of like, I think because of the people who I got the pushback from weren't necessarily people that were clients of mine anyway. You know, they just wanted to stand on that. And I got it, you know, like I understood it, but I'm just like, look, I got to do what I got to do to make this all work. And, you know, it's lasted to this point.
Outstanding. So when did you begin We Merge?
That would have started about 2005. So yeah, about 2005 or so, and it was difficult for me to start. Like I felt a kind of way about it. Like it was hard for me to use because it's like I knew what the history was, but if I was meeting somebody for the first time, they had no clue about the whole transition from Black Emerge to We Merge. But it opened a lot of doors for me because it had that corporate sound to it. You know, I started getting clients from, you know, all these different races and different work. It led to bigger clients who had contracts with states and governments. So like it opened a lot of doors I'm not gonna say by making that transition, but just like opening the door up to not limit myself to just be, you know, people see the name, they think, oh, this is just a Black business where it's about, you know, Black related issues, where it was really greater than that.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Like it goes in so many ways, man. Like I live in Hawaii right now, so I get like a survivor's guilt sometimes about, oh man, I want to go back to Cincinnati to the hood and help out so many people and kind of like make a center there where it's like a neighborhood center where I can use my services to help those people. I feel like I can and will.
Right.
But also like I love it here in Hawaii. Like who wouldn't love it in Hawaii? So it's like
love it.
It's that pull of both sides, you know what I mean? It's like I have to do what's good for me, and I can also do what's good for the people in the culture as well. So it doesn't, we don't have to limit ourselves in any way. It's just there is a need for, and this is all based on me and my, like, obviously my opinions and my stuff, but like there's a need for us to lift one another up as Black people. And there's also that spirit within me and that what I know from the creator, which is that we're all just the human race. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like we got different levels of melanin for sure. And then we treat each other different for sure.
Right.
But it's like in my heart of hearts, I know like my daddy white, my mama Black, like, and I'm still Black, but it's, you know, we're all in this together, you know.
Yeah.
If we don't adopt that, then how the hell are we gonna survive in the first place?
Yeah, I know what you mean by the survivor's guilt thing, because I definitely felt that and went through that too. I'm just like, man, am I giving up on people? But I'm just like, wait, it don't mean that I can't help.
Yeah.
You know, I still can. You know, and I think also just like when you know, because I grew up from, you know, at least in the city of Milwaukee where I grew up in an area and all that stuff, like your future's not bright typically to people. So like part of me also wanted to be like, look, like I'm an example of what could happen.
Yes.
You know, once you get to a certain place to be able to do that. And I kind of wanted to fulfill that. But, you know, somebody helped me understand something at one point. I'm just like, it allowed me to be able to be at peace with it. And it was that you can't pour from an empty cup. So I had to get to a point where my cup was full enough to be able to pour into others, because trying to pour from an empty cup just is not fulfilling the mission either.
I know that's right. And like you finally got that extra bathroom. That's what you've been working on all the time.
Right.
That's what it's all about this whole time. Got that extra
bathrooms in here right now. I'm done.
Know, right? Like, golly, what do I gotta do? What do I have to...
Oh man, when you break it down that way.
Hey, so that's awesome. So, like, how has owning this company and growing as an entrepreneur helped you grow as a person and as a spirit?
Man, I would say, like, I don't even know how else I would have gone through the personal development that I've gone through without entrepreneurship. Because there had been so many turning points. There had been so much to adapt to, so much that you as yourself have to learn about yourself in order to be able to help others. So, like I remember when I first started, like it was scary because I had never done it before. I had read the book Think and Grow Rich, and that book really kind of gave me the courage to leave the full-time corporate job that I had to start, working and living for a deeper purpose. And just all the unknowns. That's what's so challenging about it, because it's like, I don't care what kind of plan you have, there's going to be stuff that happens that you could not have foreseen. And what I've learned by owning a business and owning this business in particular is like the gold is when you're able to adjust and adapt to the things as they unfold. Like that's really where the skill is. How fast can you bounce back from something that may look like it was going to be something that was going to take you down? How fast can you recover from that? But the other thing that has helped me do too, and there's an ice cream truck coming. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can totally hear that. I was like, what is that?
When we moved here, I was just like, they got ice cream trucks coming through.
Hey, guys. Hey, at least you didn't react like Eddie Murphy, so you good.
Right. Wait, hold on. Y'all have to mute.
Ice cream.
Yeah.
But
sorry, see, it still works. They still get you gotta be distracted.
It's a trigger.
Right.
Has it in like being able to go through that adversity and to be able to adapt quickly probably made you a better husband and parent as well?
It made me a better everything. Like, I think the other part of this too is just like I've gotten to a point of doing deeper work in my work. So it's like I no longer just see it as me providing products and services for people. Like the skill set that I've been able to develop has been helping other people fulfill dreams of their own, kind of fulfill their personal mission. So I've developed like this greater appreciation for individuality in people. Part of what I have to do in order to get to the point that I'm providing services to people is to understand, like, where are they starting from? What are their challenges? Which blocks might they have? And, it's almost like you become like a therapist in some way, because people reveal so much stuff that usually I have to get through in order to get to the point to do the work that I need to do. Not everybody comes ready to go. So it's really taught me to have an appreciation for that seed of greatness that's within people. Like my sense of satisfaction comes from somebody coming to me, with this idea, something that they want to create, something that they've always wanted to do, something that's been within them, but they just didn't have the strength or the courage to do it. And they look at me as to like, can you help me make this a real thing? So like I see my work totally different now, and I used to base it on like, the amount of money that I'm making, but now it's more about like, how many lives am I helping people fulfill? How many people are now able to show up the way that they were born to show up in the world because I use my skill set to be able to help them do that. So, that's been the big thing for me.
Man, that is outstanding. Like you are the person that helps people sow seeds.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
That's incredible, like because then they can reap the rewards. But if they don't know how to, dig the hole and sow the seeds and put the soil over the seed and water, if they don't know how to do that, then they're lost. So
right.
like, you like help people find that path to promise and prosperity, and most of all, purpose and passion. That's
and that's been a revelation that's just in the past like year, 2 years, maybe max, that I started to see the work in that way, because it's just like I realized how sad it was for me to realize like there's so many people that go through life never fulfilling things that was it within them, and taking that to the grave with them. And I'm just like, that to me is like one of the saddest things to see, because usually because of some fear or something that somebody said to them back in childhood that limited their belief in themselves. It's just like, if I can help somebody navigate that and overcome that, like that's fulfilling work for me.
Bruh, you are speaking my language right there. That is exactly what I do too. So you're right. And I love it. So like, what is up for the future of Michael and We Merge?
Yeah. So lately what I've been focused on is really kind of like being in my role, I get to interact and meet all these different people, all these different backgrounds, skill sets, visions, ideas, purposes being filled. Like I have some amazing one-on-one conversations with people. Even me being able to be here with you and talking right now is a gift to me. So it's just like all these people that I interact with in the world that I've like looked back and I'm just like, man, amazing, amazing, cool. Somebody could benefit from that. I'm like, I need to create a way to bring all of these people together so that they can feed and, learn with and off of each other. So what I'm doing right now is I have something called Bond to Build. It's basically a virtual community. Like I call it a virtual co-working space for entrepreneurs, just as a place to bring entrepreneurs together. I originally wanted somewhere that I can create my educational content, but then also have people be able to network with each other. And this all came together like during the pandemic. It's like, how do I create a virtual or like a co-working space online? So building Bond to Build is kind of like my next big thing. With that, I'm able to invite clients, people that I meet over to the platform and give them a space to then be able to kind of spread, and plant their seeds so that other people can then learn from them and benefit from them. A place where we can all share our stories of fear and worry and how we overcame, because oftentimes as entrepreneurs, it's solo, like it's solo work. And like, if your mindset is not conducive to be able to help you continue on, like it's real easy to give up. It's real easy to feel defeated. So, because I was having all those one-on-one conversations, lifting and encouraging people up, like, I know what you've been through. I've been there before. I know somebody who's been through that. Let me tell you their story. Like, what if I bring everybody together so that they can interact and learn with each other and see that, it's not just you. We've all kind of gone through some version, of these pitfalls, but, we're all still here too.
Ridiculously powerful, bro. Ridiculously powerful.
Thank you.
Like for you to be able to start a community of the people that are out there doing the work, but also who are in taking on the role of being of service. Man, like that is a place where a lot of blessings are going to be given and received. And for you to be the organizer of that. Now, in the book Think and Grow Rich, it's not about the most powerful person in the world. It's about the person that organizes everybody together. That's the person that's the most powerful person in the room.
Yeah,
I see you, man.
I wish that I could like say, yeah, I thought about that. I totally didn't make that connection to the book, but you're right. You are totally right. That whole thing was because somebody took the time to do that. Wow.
Two great minds, dog. Great minds.
Thank you.
Now, on the Drop Your Baggage podcast, we talk to people that are dope, that can give you hope, but also we teach a technique that can help you cope. Now, what that technique is the mental and emotional release process. Now, if you want to try the mental and emotional release process, please do so with a licensed or a certified practitioner of Neuro Linguistic Programming. And I am one. So if you want to learn a lot more about the technique that can help you get rid of your baggage, eliminate that emotional baggage, anger, sadness, fear, all those limiting beliefs and negative emotions that you have, go to my free case study video at eliminatinginsecuritiesnow.com. Once again, eliminatinginsecuritiesnow.com, short video. And also you can go ahead and sign up for a demonstration as well and a call with me so I can help you out. And also, Michael, I am not a therapist or a psychologist or a social worker. And this is just an alternative to all of the amazing things that Western medicine does. And I say that so you won't sue me. So I'm just playing, sort of. But you wanted to release a fear, and it was the fear of not meeting expectations or disappointing someone.
Right.
Tell us more about this fear that you're going to be releasing today.
Yeah, so I had to give some thought as to where that was coming from, and there are a lot of different places that it came from. I'm 46 now. I have a daughter who's 21, and you start thinking about your life and your afterlife, and it's just like, have I given you what you needed to be good in this world? And there's a sense of like, I know she's good. I get compliments about her all the time, but you also want to make sure, like, let me make sure you're just as prepared as you can be. And let me make sure I can give you all the knowledge that I can and give you everything that I can. But there's just kind of like also with that, like it goes back, like I'm feeling like that sense of responsibility again. That is like, did I do it? Like, am I giving you everything that you need? Like, are you able to be good and understand everything and navigate the world? So, like, I'm not a millionaire. People keep telling me I'm one in the making. I'm not there, but I think my fear of poverty from growing up has made me very like self-conscious about that number, that second bathroom, that Corvette. And I think back to all that stuff. And it's like sometimes I feel like am I really have I reached my true potential, or is there more to come? So that gives me an insecurity in a way to feel that way, because it's like I want to make sure that, for my daughter, for my family, that I have something to be able to pass on to them. My insecurity has been around that feeling has been around that.
100%. Like, and nothing, that fear of poverty,
Yeah.
that fear of scarcity, like not having enough, right? When of course, we're all blessed, and the creator has probably never gone without a meal, you know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like, you know what I mean? So, and I'm sure you've had a roof over your head, if not
Yes, that's
always.
the thing. It's like I've had everything I need,
but it's
but
like not having everything that everybody else has. So it's like, to the standards of America, you see all these things and you see that you've gone without some things. So like that fear of poverty, or that wanting of more abundance and prosperity, has now got you into a place where I gotta have it. And now that you got it, you're like, I don't want to lose it. I can't lose it. I got this responsibility. What the heck? And it's like, you don't see, oh, you finally got that extra bathroom. You got this amazing business. You gave your daughter a job. Like,
right.
That don't sink in subconsciously, right?
Yeah. And it just made me realize too, like, I used to like have this internal conversation with myself. Like, I don't want to be one of those people that get wealthy and keep on chasing wealth because you feel like you don't have enough. And it's like, that was like, I never really, I can't say that I didn't really work on it, but I was like, I hope I'm not going to be one of those people. Like, I want to get to a point of being satisfied and feeling like content, but it's just like, I used to have that conversation with myself, like, oh, I just want to get to this point and then I'll be okay. But then like, there's people who get to that point and they still want more, and I don't want to be that way. I don't want that. It felt like greed in a way to me,
For sure. Like, and I see where you're coming from, as long as it's coming from the wrong place. But also, some people are just achievers. You seem like an achiever. So like, once you get to that place, you know that you're good, but there's something inside you say, like, wait a second, I can give to more people. I can have my consciousness raised that much more. I can be effective and be a blessing to even more folks. I can have in the prayer of Jabez, it says my territory enlarged. You
right.
feel me? If I do this, and this, and raise my income to this level. So it's not about greed necessarily. And it's not that you're not content, but it's like, man, I'm competitive. I still want to keep going. What limits can I know I got a lot of blessings left. What limits can I push myself to? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all, in my opinion. But what do I know? I'm a 34-year-old kid, you know what I mean? But cool. So yeah, so we see where the foundation is. We see like all this quote unquote lack like this thinking of lack may have come from your past, and now it's like you have this responsibility, you're doing well, but that thing is still in the back of your mind. So let's go ahead and get rid of it. How does it make you feel though? Let's dig a little bit deeper into how it makes you feel when you feel like, man, my daughter just might not, did I do enough? Like I know the words, but how are the feelings within you?
Yeah, I would say describe the feelings as almost kind of like like an imposter syndrome almost. Even today I had lunch with a group of friends, and we talked about like, okay, everybody, let's just share like an opportunity and something that's on our mind. And that was my thing that I brought up today. I was like, I almost feel like I have like a like imposter syndrome in a way. Like, I know people see me one way, but my feeling doesn't match the way that people see me oftentimes. And, that gives me a sense of insecurity. It makes me fearful. And then I have to remember to kind of take some time out to just pause for a moment and, put my mind in the right place of abundance, and, things are working out well, kind of use my affirmations. But like lately, for the past, I would say like 2 weeks or so, like it's been recurring. And I go through these stages where it comes up, and then I think I manage it and deal with it, but then it comes back, you know. So it was just like it came up today, like it was the topic today, you know.
Has it been now? You know, I try not to snoop, but I do try to do as much research as possible. I
Yeah.
scrolled and I saw that your daughter graduated not too long ago.
She's didn't graduate, so she's did, I think, I can't remember if it was 3 or 4 semesters of college. So she went to perform. She graduated from high school, but then she went to college, and she went, you know, because she was in musical theater. I wanted to be an actor, so she went to performing arts school. But then with the pandemic happened, and then it's just like, you know, we moved from California, from Wisconsin to California, California to Arizona. It was just like, it didn't make sense to be in school at the moment because she didn't want to do that career anymore. So she was kind of go through a transition, but she didn't want to continue to build debt while she was doing so. So she started, you know, it kind of reminded me, she's doing ship deliveries, and then she was teaching, you know, at some schools with some kids. And now she's working with me as well. And I feel like that her working with me is almost like a trigger in a way. You know, I told her yesterday, I was like, I want to be able to tell you to like go somewhere else that has more stability, income, and have some money. But then the other part of me is just like, I should be able to provide this and pay you, you know, consistently. You know what I mean? Like, I'm more risk adverse. So it's like, I think that's been a trigger for me to not be able to provide that like consistent, stable, full time. You know, it's kind of like, okay, got some work overload, so I need to bring you in now. So I think that's kind of been a trigger for it.
How will it feel when you get rid of this limiting belief?
I can go back to feeling like I'm retired and living. You know, like I moved to Arizona because I'm just like, I'm not waiting until I'm done to be retired. Like I want to live my retired life now. And I really just want to focus on doing like meaningful work. You know, that's how I want to use my time. So, you know, the investing into Bond to Build and investing to other people, like I want to see that, you know, to the fullest, do its thing and become what I know it can be. What people have told me that it can be, and like keep going. Like, yeah, this is definitely needed. But you know, it's going to feel good to let go of that and just to be able to not be distracted by it. I think that fear becomes a distraction, and then it starts messing up other work and stuff that I'm trying to do because I'm dealing with that mentally.
100%, 100%. So let's go ahead and get rid of it.
All right.
So this is going to be a simple, systematic, guided meditation. There's only 3 things that you got to do. Use your imagination, follow directions, just like you follow a recipe, and trust the process. Know that I'm your guide. I'm going to be leading you through this easily and effortlessly.
Okay.
We created your timeline. If your past could be to your left, to your right, or behind you, where's your past?
I would say to the left.
Where's your future?
To the right.
Just like me. Awesome. Some people is like every day. Some people got some imaginations. I was like, oh, that's my past. Like, all right. All right. And yeah, just it's real cruise. About to do a lot of personal development, a lot of therapy, and multiple breakthroughs in a very fast rate. And we're going to change your consciousness about the things that happened to you in the past. That's the most important thing. Change your awareness and your thought patterns about the things that happened to you in your past. I got your back. So is it all right with your unconscious mind for you to release this fear of not meeting expectations today and for you to be aware of it consciously?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. What is the root cause of this problem? The first event, which when disconnected, that will cause this problem to disappear. If you were to know, when was the first time that you had this fear of disappointing or this fear of not meeting expectations when you were a little kid? How? Yeah.
I can recall some situations, especially when I was in Drum and Bugle Corps. We would travel during the summertime, and there were oftentimes we'd be going on like a 30-day tour.
Time out. That was high school, correct?
That was like high school. Yep.
Let's go back even farther. Further. Yes, let's go back even further. I'm talking about elementary. Really young. Let's talk about like kindergarten, 3rd, 4th grade. That fear of not meeting expectations or that fear of disappointing.
I gotta think. You got time for me to think back?
Hey man, come on. This ain't live.
Let me think about this. Let me try and go back further, because high school is easy. Like I could easily do high school.
Right.
Let me go back further. Okay. Let me think. Okay. So now I think I'm kind of like one story. So I was in fifth grade.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think back around fifth grade, we moved to the area that we call the Valley. And
Mm-hmm.
it was, I had always lived pretty much kind of in the same area, had the same friend group until we moved at that point.
Mm-hmm.
We had a house fire. That's why we had moved. And we moved to this
Mm.
area that I wasn't familiar with. And I met people, and I didn't think about these people until now. But like, I'm thinking back to like toys. I remember going over to some of the kids' houses and they had just like all these different toys to play with, and all these different, like they just had it, to me in my eyes, they had it made. So like I didn't have my own GI Joe and I didn't have my own those things that we watched on TV, but I got to play with theirs, when I got to their house. But when I left, I'd go back to whatever I had. I had some Transformers. I remember that, and that was about it. But I kind of feel like if I think back, that would be kind of like a point where I can recognize and been aware of a difference.
Yeah, right there is that. Oh man, I don't meet this expectation. I don't have this amount of toys.
Yeah,
Yeah, that the little kid got you. All right, cool. That's it. That's easy one. That's really good. So
Okay.
you can go ahead and close your eyes for the systematic guided meditation. Relax and let me know when you're ready to drop your baggage.
Okay, let me lean back a little bit here.
Go ahead. Oh, you got the ice cream truck going by.
It's starting. There's like 3 or 4 of them that come through here. It's crazy.
Wow.
I'm like, I don't even see kids outside, so I don't even get it. All right. Okay.
All right. Now, just imagine floating outside of your body as if though you were a spirit or energy. And just imagine hovering above yourself right here, right now, in this very moment. And see yourself from a third person point of view. See your mic and your black shirt, the speakers and the lamp behind you. I just want to drink, create, and sleep sign and the screen in front of you. Let me know when you can see yourself from a third person point of view.
I can see.
Awesome. Now, just imagine floating up above your timeline and float deeper and deeper and deeper into the past, above that first event in which you felt the fear of not meeting expectations when you were just a little kid playing with the toys, and just see the whole event. See the boys that you were playing with and their toys, see you and your toy, see what you were wearing in the whole event. Let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
Awesome. Now, just ask your unconscious mind what it needs to learn from the event. The learning of which will allow you to let go of the emotions easily and effortlessly. Your unconscious mind can preserve the learnings so that if you need them in the future, they'll be there. Just tell your unconscious mind to preserve the learnings. This is an exercise of forgiveness and acceptance. Forgiveness for yourself and others, and acceptance of yourself and others. Who do you have to forgive? What do you have to accept? Who do you have to accept? Focus your attention upon how hurt people hurt people. We're all doing the best that we can with the resources and consciousness that we have. We can't control anyone else's actions, but we can control our response. We can grow stronger and wiser and learn from people's mistakes and actions. Other people's actions have nothing to do with you. It's only a reflection of their baggage and whatever they're going through at the time. And we're better people than we were when those events occurred. You're a better person than you were when that event occurred. What is something positive and empowering you can tell that little kid and those little boys and everyone else involved in the event with the consciousness that you have today that will allow the emotions to evaporate like water on the concrete on a hot summer day? And as you preserve these learnings, the emotions are starting to dissipate more and more until they're all gone. Just let me know when they're all gone.
Okay. They're gone.
Awesome. Now, Looking back at that event as you hover over the event, what is something that you learned from the event?
You want me to share that?
Yes, please.
Okay. So there's a sense of acceptance that everybody kind of has their own story, has their own background. I can, knowing what I know now, like looking back on some of those friends, they didn't necessarily have like happy homes.
Mm-hmm.
So, just being able to realize that, that what I saw having all these toys doesn't necessarily mean like the family was good.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Now, with seeing what you saw and knowing what you know now, what lesson can you take from that event and carry it on into the future to make you a better person?
The lesson that I can see with that is it's cliche sounding, but not judging the book by its cover.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, you know, feeling like I'm good enough, just being able to accept whatever, where I am at that moment, at that time, and being okay with that.
That's right. Awesome. Now, just imagine floating up above your timeline and float deeper and deeper and deeper into the past above the dinosaurs during the prehistoric age. Let me know when you're above the dinosaurs.
Okay.
Awesome. Now, as you're above the dinosaurs, float deeper and deeper and deeper into space to where space and the atmosphere connects. And imagine your timeline is the size of a fingernail. Let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
Now, just imagine floating there, weightless, in space, and ask yourself now, where are the emotions? Tell me, are they there or have they disappeared? Now,
Disappeared.
awesome. Now, float down inside the event, seeing through your own eyes as a little kid, and check on the emotions. Tell me, are they there or have they disappeared? Now,
Disappeared.
awesome. Float back above the dinosaurs and then float into space to where space and the atmosphere connects. Let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
All right, listen closely. Float very, very high above your timeline, above each and every event in which you felt the fear of not meeting expectations from birth until now in chronological order. Don't skip one event that has a charge on it. Preserve the learnings and let go of that fear all the way back to now. Go.
Okay.
Awesome. Float down into your body and open your eyes when you're ready.
All right.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I was going somewhere.
Right.
I had a guided meditation once before, and it was like the most like it was a very memorable experience. So,
Mm-hmm.
that person became a close friend of mine. But I don't know that I've done another one like that since until now. Yeah.
I met the standard, baby. I met the. Hey, so how do you feel?
I feel light. I feel lighter. Um, like I felt a bit anxious coming into this, but I don't necessarily feel that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember some things that I forgot when I was kind of revisiting the timeline. Um, so I was like, oh yeah, like in you repeating the hurt people, and also like people did the best they could with the resources that they had. Like that helped me let go of some of those situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder, especially when you're going through something like that, where you're looking at things objectively, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that person's point of view."
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and test it out. So, do you smell bacon?
No.
Okay, I use that. I use that question to get your mind off the meditation.
Okay.
It's like, am I supposed to? So, can you remember a time in the past in which you used to feel that old emotion? And go back and notice if you can feel it, or you may find that you cannot.
If I can feel it or if I can remember the times.
You can remember the times,
Okay.
but see if you can find that old emotion that you used to feel when you used to think about it.
Oh, okay. No, no, I don't. No.
I want you to go out into the future. Imagine going out into the future to an unspecified time in the future, in which, if it would have happened in the past, you would have felt that fear of not meeting expectations. But it's the future now. So see if you
Hmm.
can find that old emotion, or you may find that you cannot. Excuse
No, I don't. Like I, this is making me realize like there has been some of that I had been working on. You know, kind of just accepting people for who they are and not really owning that. Like I feel like I was doing it in my present, but I never went back to do it in my past. Um, so I think that makes it, because I've been doing it presently, makes it easier for me to think about when I go through the future timeline. But I never revisited to release any of that stuff.
It's, I don't think it's like necessarily taught or talked about to go back and revisit those things from the past. We always want to just kind of like bury the hatchet right now in
Right.
the most recent, but the things that happened in the past are the things that shapes our subconscious,
Right.
especially within that younger age as well. You know, and you know, emotions, if they're not dealt with like, you know, properly, then they're just gonna be there. They're gonna get trapped and just be there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, congratulations, you just released a bunch of fear.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, just drop your baggage.
I was wondering what this was gonna feel like. I'm like, I don't know what to expect, and I didn't even go back to listen to no other episodes because I was
Yeah,
like, I want to come in this totally like blank
yeah,
and
yeah.
allow myself to go through it.
Love it. I love the
Thank you.
like. Yeah, yeah. Good stuff. Good job on that. So, how do you feel about, say, your daughter now?
Hmm.
How do you feel about it now?
I don't feel any like anxiety around it. Like I almost kind of feel it's, and I'm taking how I feel to try to put it into the words because it's like I don't feel the anxiety that I had for it, but now I have to get comfortable with saying that I don't feel the anxiety. You know what I mean? Because I was telling myself another story, but I don't have that sense of responsibility that I felt before. I feel, yeah.
What's changed about that sense of responsibility now?
Just kind of like a sense of peace of like just trusting like in divine time, and knowing that because of the work that I'm doing and that what I'm involving her in, and even the people that I met with today, because my daughter was with me at lunch when we had this conversation, with the people that I met with today. There was just kind of like this, like you're doing the work that you need to be doing in this moment and being able to just trust that and not letting the past anxiety and fear creep in and kind of take me off track from that.
100%, a hundred
Yeah.
percent. The how about the events from the past? Like, can you take us over some of the events from that you thought of in your timeline and
Mm-hmm.
kind of take us through your thought process from what it was to what it is now?
Oh, yeah. So one of the things that came up that I didn't think about the first time, and I think this probably would have been a little bit after the toy incident, was one of my cousins, like his uncle. So I would say he's my cousin, you know, and it's through marriage, but his uncle on the side. I remember his uncle telling us, you know, like you look to him because like he's gonna be the example of what y'all should be. And I had totally forgot about that, you know, because it was just like I remember, and I told my cousin a couple of years ago about it. I was like, you know, I remember such and such saying this. He's like, what? He said that? But like at the time, of course, I was a kid, so I didn't know how to process that. But I know it didn't sit well with me. But it also became almost like fuel in a way, and kind of I think it might have made me a little competitive, not necessarily with my cousin, but just like in like I'm not gonna. And this is something that I've now talking about it. I know that's been a pattern for me is not to be to rise above any like statistics or what people think. Oh, because you're from this area, your max is here, your ceiling is here. So just to be kind of working to not make that true. You know what I mean? But that's one of the things that came to. But knowing what I know now, you know, I know that his life when he said that wasn't in a good place. You know, like he was dealing with some stuff that I had no clue about because I'm a kid. I had no reason to even be thinking about that stuff at the time. But I was able to release that and let that go and remember that.
Yeah, I find that this technique is great for forgiveness. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and like you said, a bit of accepting, like, oh yeah, you just hurt people, man. Like,
Yeah.
don't know no better. They don't know.
Right.
He's just like talking out of his behind,
Mhm.
But so to accept that and to have a compassion for him makes you a better person because there's other scenarios and situations where you can do the same for others. I mean, you're already a compassionate and empathetic person, but to ramp that up a bit more is a greater amount of personal development, if you will, in a
Right.
small, short amount of time.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So like there's that sense of heaviness that you have and that you had, and also the feeling that you said you had. What was that feeling again?
The one of like um, the imposter syndrome feeling.
Yes, yes. How does
Yeah.
that feel?
Um, I don't necessarily feel it as strongly as I did. Like I don't feel. I feel like that's not it now.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, oh, revealing this stuff had made me realize like it's not necessarily that I'm not living up to who I say I am or who I show people that I am,
Mm-hmm.
but it was just that I was allowing these past things that had been said, in my past perception on things, um, kind of create insecurity in myself,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily feel the imposter syndrome thing that I felt before because I know that I'm pretty authentic in what I do and when I talk to people and what I tell people I can do. You know, I don't go beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So before we did the guided meditation, it felt like that. Like you could feel it in your body and your
Yeah, it was a
core.
heavy feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. And it, like you said, it feels a whole lot lighter now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's deep. That's deep, yo. I like it because it just shocks me every time. Like I said, it's like a David Blaine magic trick. You know what I mean? Because it's
Hmm.
like all of a sudden, I mean, you can see it was there, you feel it was there, you feel it was there, but then all of a
Hmm.
sudden you go through this, you have all these different revelations, and then bow, gone. It's like,
Right.
where did it go? And
Right.
the best part about it, it ain't coming back. It's that
Hmm.
like that heaviness won't be coming back. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
that's good.
like, yeah, don't waste my
I'm
day
here
all
for
the
that.
time. No, that's right. Where do you see your future? Like, so you told us about like how you're gonna feel after it's gone. So, what do you see? Where do you see your future now that this kind of weight, these negative thoughts in your mind are gone? What do you see yourself going now with that?
Yeah, it's weird because it's like at first I felt kind of like a very narrow lane, you know, like I felt I was walking on like this balancing beam, you know, and I had to just walk easy to kind of stay on there. But now I feel like a wider sense of vision, like I don't feel so constrained and like I feel a little more free than I felt before, you know. I don't feel like I'm walking that balancing beam like I was feeling before we started.
That is beautiful, man. Congratulations, Doc.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, you deserve it. Anybody deserves it. You deserve it. And you got work to do. You got work
Yes,
to do.
that's what it's making me think about now. Like, I got some stuff to do.
No, that's right. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for showing up for your divine appointment. Hey, look, for all you entrepreneurs out there that I reach out to randomly and hear me out.
Randomly, yeah.
And then
Like, what is this doing? And why is he? What is he talking about?
Hey, I appreciate all you guys who show up for your divine appointment with all my heart and soul. It really is a blessing. Like for anybody that listens to this podcast, and especially for people that are on the podcast, letting go and dropping their baggage. So thank you so much, Mike, for
Oh,
dropping your
pleasure.
baggage today.
My pleasure. I appreciate it.
But
And I'm divine time. I'm glad you reached out to me and even offered it. You know, my curiosity kicked in again. Like, oh, let me go and see what this is about. So
right.
I appreciate you helping me deal with that.
100%. You manifested it. I think that's the thing. Like
Mm,
everybody who I reach out to for some reason or another, they manifest it. It's just they got to show up for that appointment, that divine
wow.
appointment. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. So please, we're about to tie this up. Please tie this up with some wise words for the audience out there.
All right. So based on, you know, like how I was feeling beforehand and how I'm feeling now, um, I felt like dealing with my past stuff was really just like accepting it and moving on and not revisiting it. But you know, and typically, and I didn't know this was something that was going to be helpful or that I needed to do, but it was actually good for me to like kind of go back and think about all these different moments where I felt like I wasn't enough, and there wasn't as many of them as you know in my prior mindset state. like I feel like I blew it up and made it much bigger than it was. But when you told me to kind of go through and think about those moments, and I'm having these conversations and I'm dropping in on these moments, I'm just like, oh, okay, like there's a lesson in that. This is a different lesson from that. I realized there were just a few significant things to really kind of revisit and let go. So anybody who's holding on to some stuff from the past, you may not be aware that it's prohibiting you today, because I didn't connect those things to how I was feeling today. I honestly did not. But you know, if you can either reach out to Charles or find somebody to kind of help you revisit and work through that. I know when we first talked and you were kind of telling me how this works. You mentioned that, like, we were talking about how like everything comes back to childhood. Everybody I talk to, there's something in childhood that they're still dealing with today. So my advice for anybody who's hearing this podcast is to really kind of think back, think about the things that you are struggling with today, and think about how those things may have began, back in childhood, and find someone to kind of help you professionally work through that. Because I had no idea. I didn't really connect those things to this feeling at all.
Right? Like nobody does.
No.
Hey, thank you so much again, Mike. And thank you all out there for your attention and your support. I truly appreciate it with all my heart. And I love you guys with all my heart. Please consider hitting the like and subscribe button. And yeah, you guys out there, tune in for another episode of the Drop Your Baggage podcast on any podcast platform or YouTube. Take care of yourselves out there and take care of one another. Peace.